It's time now for the K.C. Ingram Show on WSTU. The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not necessarily those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time to call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788, 220-WSTU. And now, here's K.C. Ingram.
Tired of lines at the boat launch, sun damage, or not using your boat because of the hassle? Call Meridian Marina and Yacht Club because we do all the work so you can enjoy your boating lifestyle. We store your boat inside, launch it with a wash with just 30 minutes notice, and rinse it down before putting it back. We do the work so you can enjoy your day on the water. Call us up at 772-221-8198 or visit us online at meridianmarina.com for more information. I also want to remind everybody you can sign up for a weekly notification of who the special guest will be in the studio. And this week we have a couple guests. The first one is Dan Hudson here in front of our patriotic display in the studio. Appreciate you coming in, Dan. But you can sign up for that email list or that email notification at my website, thekcingrahamshow.com. If you don't see that email, check your spam folder. Sometimes that's where it goes. And finally, Stewart Downtown Auction. Love auctions, so do we. Auctions are a great way to get a good deal and see items that you never knew you even wanted. Come explore our inventory of estate items and bid on your treasure and leave with a fun memory. When you are serious about selling, so are we. Associate Auctions and Stewart Downtown Auction provide a complete solution to real estate and personal property assets throughout the Treasure Coast. Real auctions, real results. Associate Auctions and Stewart Downtown Auction. Call K.C. Daniel, auctioneer, at 772-291-2806. That's K.C. Daniel, 291-2806. Well, very glad to have in the studio this evening Dan Hudson. He is with the county. He's a project manager for the Martin County Business Renewal Program. And Dan, you came in kind of last minute. I had a different interview scheduled with Kelly Glass-Layton, and she had to cancel. And I appreciate you taking whatever steps you had to take to come in here at the last minute. But we're going to be really talking about things that are important to our Martin County businesses, and specifically what kind of grants or loans, whatever's out there to help our businesses get through the COVID crisis. And also, before I go to you, Dan, we have Christina David joining us on the line. She's a local business owner, and she's with Chris David and Associates, and they do some digital marketing. She's a local business owner that's also concerned about helping make sure our local businesses survive this COVID crisis. So Dan, thank you again. Dan Hudson, I'm going to turn this over to you for a little bit. Tell us what group you're with, again, with the county, and again, what programs are available for our businesses.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. We do want to get the word out, so whenever we have openings, we like to get out and talk about it and start getting people involved. It is a brand new program. It came out of the federal government's CARES Act, which everybody seems to know what that means, but it's basically the act that was approved by Congress earlier in the year, and parts of it went to personal assistance, parts of it went to business assistance, and so now we're kind of at that point where the money coming to Martin County is finally here, and so Martin County set up a special program to deal with it. They wanted to have like a fairly tight control over it from the standpoint of not farming it out to other agencies, but really the overarching philosophy of it is that we want the people to get money that they're entitled to, that they're eligible for, and it's here and it's available. There's right now there's about $5.6 million available to businesses. If I could give a little bit of an overview of it.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's available in grants, which means you don't have to repay. So up to $20,000. It's aimed at for-profit businesses that were forced to close or limit their operations because of one of the executive orders that the governor signed, or in some cases there might have been a local Martin County ordinance that caused them to limit operations. And I'm thinking of golf courses as an example of that. Okay, so for-profit, not-for-profits are not eligible under this program. That's one of the questions we get asked. And so it's for-profit businesses, and we don't, it doesn't matter how you're organized. It can be an LLC, it can be a corporation, it can be a sole proprietor. We have sole proprietors applying. So the main requirement of the business, and there's a number of eligibility requirements.
Right.
But the main requirement is that the business had to be in operation from October 1st of 2019 to August 1st of 2020. Okay, so what the reason those dates are there is to give just it's a viable ongoing business is what,
right.
As opposed to one that's just
opened up in March.
May have been borderline,
closed, right.
Yeah. And we've heard some of those stories too, and you feel for people in
right.
those situations. So that's a quick overview.
What about gig workers?
What's a gig worker?
Like musicians that have been playing, at our local restaurants and bars here for years.
It's really hard to speak in terms of hypotheticals like that. But if they operated a venue, when the venue was forced to close, that would be a clear yes. They would have been eligible because they were forced to close.
Okay.
Someone who's works a trade at different locations, you would have to look at individual facts in that case.
Okay, so they would be encouraged to at least look into this and contact you to see if they fall under the criteria.
Yeah, thank you what we're really encouraging people to do is go to the website, martin.fl.us. I think most people in Martin County know our website.
Right.
And the easiest way to get to it is just go to that, and there's a banner right up at the top of the page. Just click on that, and it'll take you to the eligibility requirements. And what we're encouraging people to do is just take a look at it at first. Just look at it and review the eligibility list, see if you believe that you're qualified. And if you are, then go ahead. You could either proceed with the application and get it going, or you can just give us a call. Let me just give you the number.
Please do.
772-288-5951. So
288-5951.
Yeah, there you go. So we are encouraging everybody to take a look, even if you think that you may not be qualified.
Are there limits to the size of the business or the amount of sales a business had?
There's an upper limit of $5 million in revenue. Yes, that's a good question. All of the ones that we're seeing so far, and if I could just let me just say, we just opened August 3rd, 9:00 in the morning. We're at the Palm City Library at the south end in the community room.
Okay.
So in the first week of operation, we received almost 50 applications totaling about $750,000. So we're seeing a lot of sole proprietors, a lot of small LLCs, just a variety. The salon industry is really taking advantage of it. Yeah.
What about folks that have already received a PPP loan?
Yeah, the PPP is really complicated, as I've learned in the last. This is actually, I think, my 17th day on the job. So it's been hard to get a handle around. Part of that is because it's been a moving target. The federal policy has actually changed a couple of times in the course of it. And so they have relaxed the requirements. And so it's a little bit easier to get forgiveness of a PPP loan now. And it was hard to get documentation for it because a lot, I've seen people come in the door with, all they have literally is just a deposit into their bank account. They don't have any agreements or anything. So okay, well, we'll take your deposit into the bank account as evidence that you received it. So let me give you a simple example. Let's say I qualify for up to $20,000 in my business of reimbursement under the program, but I received a PPP loan of $10,000. Okay, so at this point, we have to assume that the PPP is going to be forgiven because it's a very liberal program. So we would say $20,000 maximum, less $10,000 for the PPP. I'd still qualify for $10,000. So we.
Okay, so there are cases.
And we have some people that, I communicated with one business. They seem to qualify from, just a verbal exchange. And, but they had I want to say a 17,500, I said, well, you still qualify for 2,500 if you want to. It's worth it. Go for
Go.
it. So, yeah.
And
But
it's a
that's
grant.
business decision.
Right.
It's a grant. It doesn't have to be repaid.
Okay. And again, it's businesses, they were shut down or restricted hours in some way. So it's
Exactly.
restricted business.
Yeah, it has to be on one of the executive orders for it to qualify. So like marine industry, marine charter, wasn't. So we've got a few that are. We go and we look it up. We have the executive orders. If we're not sure, we'll contact the legal department and ask them. So we have a team behind us, so to speak. So
Is this a first come, first serve grant?
in a very general sense, it is. We are trying to process them in the order that they're received. We're not going to wait for business number two if business number one isn't getting their paperwork together. We're going to keep working on business number two. It'll only become important whenever we get close to the end. Right now, there appears to be sufficient money for the next couple of months at least for us to run.
So there's no defined end date?
Well, it ends at the end of the year, so we can't go beyond the end of the year. So that's a federal requirement. And what we're doing is we are telling people by the end of November, you need to get it in. That's the closing date. If you that gives us 30 days to review it and communicate with them. So
Okay.
So.
Christina, I haven't forgotten about you. You're a local business owner here in the area. You'd reached out to me kind of during the COVID crisis when I was off air. And I thought tonight's show would be a good time to also reach out to you. You were concerned about businesses surviving through this COVID crisis and what we can do to help our businesses make it through.
Hi, thank you for remembering and reaching out.
Absolutely.
Yes, there's actually, I'd like to use the term we need to now pivot with what we're doing in marketing. And for me, it's all about making a difference. So that's why I reached out to you. Small businesses are experiencing some incredible growth for those that pivoted and others, sadly to say, demise. So just real quick, some of the things that our local businesses could do or should be doing if they are not already is working with Google. Google My Business. That's the little map that we see.
Oh, yes.
When we happen to go on our phone and we use Siri or whoever to voice search and say, hey, what's the closest restaurant? How do I fix my car? I need a lawyer. I need a doctor. Whatever that is. Generally, it's some affiliation of Google and or Apple in which they look for that business. So knowing what's there for you as opportunities, and a lot of businesses don't even realize that's there. It's free. Take advantage of it. Use it. Fill out Google My Business as much as possible. Google is on board with trying to help people and businesses communicate with each other. So you have the ability with that to say, here's what my hours are. Here's what we're doing to keep you safe. You can put up specials through posts and things that they have right on Google My Business. I won't digress into it too much, but if anybody ever really wanted to know more, they're welcome to contact me. I love talking about this stuff and helping as much as possible.
Christina,
I want to make sure.
I was going to interrupt you here for 1 second, but how can people contact you?
Well, they can call me. So they can call me through the phone number 561-358-1119. Or they can email me. I'm open to that too. I know a lot of people don't necessarily want to talk on the phone, so they can email me and ask me questions. And I'm happy to give out even my personal email, which is Chris, CHRISS, 2 S's, David, DAVID, 33 at gmail.com. So it's chrisdavid33@gmail.com. And if anybody has any questions, they are welcome to email me, call me, text me, and I'm happy to help answer them.
Chris, it's very important. And, something like you're bringing up here now with Google, it's free to these businesses. This is a time when money is so tight for so many of our businesses as it is. And, a lot of business owners don't realize it's free to go to Google or have any idea how to find Google Business and find out how to input their phone number, input their address. So definitely a great tip there for our local business owners. I'll come back to you here in 1 second. I want to go back here to Dan. Dan, besides this grant program, is there anything else out there for our local businesses, maybe the ones that have exhausted their PPP already, that you know of for our local businesses that can gain financial assistance?
I'm not aware of anything that would be financial assistance. Some of the private sector is coming forward. Lowe's is offering a program. Someone mentioned it to us today that they have special loan categories for small minority businesses, and so some of the private sector is starting to step forward with those kinds of programs. The governmental programs, I think this is it for Martin County right now at this time. There may be something more coming forward. And of course, we have a whole personal assistance side because remember, the business owners are people too, so they qualify for those kinds of assistance as well. So
there's help out there. Just have to try and find it, and absolutely. So, Christina, come back to you here. Besides Google Business, what else are you suggesting our businesses can do to be noticed or to stay afloat right now?
Okay, so I would make sure I would presume at this stage that a lot of people have websites, but if they don't, they should make sure that they have some sort of website, because the internet is where everybody is communicating with each other. And utilizing that website in such a manner is to communicate to potential clients, customers, let the community know either whether you're open or you're not. But a lot of people have the ability, and I'll just use an example. For example, I know a restaurant where they think they can't have anybody come in and sit down. Well, that doesn't mean that you have to close your doors. If the government has said you don't have to, don't. Pivot. Figure out a different way to do this. People are sick of staying at home. They want to go out to eat, but they can't. We know now that that's been relaxed a little bit. Or maybe they're fearful to go out. So instead, make it so that you can communicate that you would create a dinner, lovely, lavish dinner to have at home. Communicate that through your website. Communicate it through social media. One of the best things that people could do right now, businesses, is create videos. Share your knowledge. Put forth a positive statement about how you can help, how you can make their life be a little bit easier. Stay in communication with the people, your customers who are already there. Again, I don't mean to harp on video, but video is fantastic. It's engaging, and that's where everybody is looking right now.
When you say use a video, what platforms would you put that video on?
Well, let's start with the fact that Facebook, you could do a Facebook Live video. So you could, if it's a chef, you could do a Facebook Live while the chef is cooking something in the kitchen. And how fantastic to show how well you handle the food and keep it clean. If it's a real estate agent, it could be a Facebook Live video of a walkthrough of a home. You could just do a Facebook Live video explaining what your business is about and how you are adjusting and keeping potential clients safe. Maybe you're a plumber or electrician and people are afraid to call and have them come into their home. Explain about what you're doing to make sure that you're not carrying this and you won't bring it into their home, that you care about them as much. Really showing genuine authenticity of caring about the community, and you can do that through video. So the other thing that you just asked, I said Facebook Live, almost everybody has a smartphone, and the smartphones have the ability to shoot really high quality video. So learning how the proper way to do that and shoot it and put that up on Google My Business, put it up on Facebook, Instagram. There's key tricks to doing that, and I don't want to take up too much of the time discussing that, but I'm happy to teach people and share that, because there is a way to communicate and let people know that you're out there, that you want to help them, and how you are staying clean, if you want to use that term, so that you're not going to spread this disease to their homes through food, through coming in and fixing the plumbing, the electric, showing a house. If you're a lawyer or a doctor, it's important for you to get those services. We all still need them. Life hasn't stopped. So there's a way for us to communicate how these businesses are able to still help them. And quite frankly, video is one of the key facts to get there.
And Christina, you touched on something. It is consumers have to have a confidence level that they can go to a restaurant or order out at a restaurant. They have to have that confidence that the food they're receiving has been in a cleanly environment, that they don't have to worry about getting COVID. So certainly a Facebook Live showing that your business is doing just that, I could see where that would be extremely beneficial. And as we're talking here, I'm thinking Christina is offering businesses a lot of really good tips here on how to help promote their businesses and keep creating business to come in. Dan, are there restrictions to the grant money once they receive it and what they can use it for?
Well, yes, there are. There's 5 defined categories. Wages, even if you got a PPP loan for wages, you can still list that as your expenses and be reimbursed for it as long as you meet all of the other qualifications. So the second is inventory, and we don't mean necessarily if I'm a jewelry store, I can't have this grant pay for my inventory of new jewelry. But if I'm a restaurant and I had to throw out a freezer full of food, then that is eligible. So that's what they mean by inventory. Mortgages, rents, leases, that's for most businesses, that's a big ticket item that if you've got receipts, cancel checks, then that puts you, that gets you good. And then utilities. And then if you've had to do anything related to the virus, because, you see the plexiglass panels, that kind of expense would be eligible for reimbursement.
So there are some restrictions, but they're to do with COVID.
Yes.
So you're not able to take the money and do an expansion necessarily, which 20,000 isn't going to pay for much of an expansion.
And it's important to remember that it's a reimbursement grant, meaning there must have been an expense that can be documented with canceled checks or bank statements or some other means. Some people think, well, I lost $200,000 in revenue. There's no way for us to calculate that. There's no way to prove it. It's a hypothetical number, and you feel for people.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to be able to base it on something.
Document it. I'm glad you just clarified that it's a reimbursement grant, not something moving forward. So just wrapping up here, we just have a couple minutes left. Christina, I'd like you to shout out one more time your phone number, how people can or businesses can reach you. I think you have some really good ideas to help promote them. And of course, as consumers, we all need to try and support our businesses here locally. We've always had a buy local program, but it's more important now more than ever.
For sure.
And our businesses are struggling. Even if they're open at 50% capacity, they have 100% of the overhead expenses yet. So any support we can give them as consumers, we certainly need to do that. So Christina, if you would shout out your phone number and your business again one more time so people can reach you if they missed it before.
Sure. It's Chris David and Associates, and the phone number is 561-358-1119.
And Christine, I really appreciate you calling in and joining the show. I also got a hold of you very last minute. We were only able to have one person in the studio because of COVID, but definitely had some good advice here over the phone and appreciate that. Dan, one more time, let's give that county website. I always just Google Martin BOCC and it takes me right there.
Right. It's pretty easy to find, but it's very simple, martin.fl.us, and click on the banner at the top. You can also send us an email, sbrc@martin.fl.us.
And then again, there are a lot of answers to your questions right on that website. And I think the application link is there if you wanted to move forward with that as well.
Yes, absolutely. Everything's there, and we're happy to talk to people too.
Well, that's absolutely wonderful. Well, Dan Hudson, project manager for the Martin County Business Renewal Program. And that's the grants that are available if you have been impacted by COVID. It's certainly something to look into. Maximum of $20,000 an applicant. And Christina David with Chris David and Associates, we definitely appreciate you tuning in this evening. She has great ideas to help promote your business during COVID. And, we're using Facebook Live right now, as a matter of fact. So I support that more than anything. So appreciate you both, and you all have a very good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tired of lines at the boat launch, sun damage, or not using your boat because of the hassle? Call Meridian Marina and Yacht Club because we do all the work so you can enjoy your boating lifestyle. We store your boat inside, launch it with a wash with just 30 minutes notice, and rinse it down before putting it back. We do the work so you can enjoy your day on the water. Call us up at 772-221-8198 or visit us online at meridianmarina.com for more information. I also like to remind everybody you can sign up for a weekly notification of who the special guest will be in the studio, and you can do that at my website, thekcingrahamshow.com. If you sign up and do not receive that email, be sure to check your spam folder. Sometimes it ends up there. In the studio this evening, before I get to you, Karen, I have one more sponsor I have to shout out. Can't forget those sponsors. Exactly. Gotta have the show running somehow. Stewart Downtown Auction, and that's with K.C. Daniel Auctioneer. How I can forget another K.C., I don't know. I apologize on that. I mean, K.C. is the name. But anyways, if you have any items laying around taking up space that you just don't want anymore, we have a solution. Call the Stewart Downtown Auction to have your items picked up and sold at auction, and the proceeds can then be distributed back to you or any of the local charities. We have the bidders. They want to buy your items. When you're serious about selling, so are we. Associate Auctions and Stewart Downtown Auction provide a complete solution to real estate and personal property assets throughout the Treasure Coast. Real auctions, real results. Associate Auctions and Stewart Downtown Auction. K.C. Daniel Auctioneer, 772-291-2806. That's 291-2806. Now in the studio joining me here, very patriotic, and behind you are more flags that go with your mask.
Oh, nice.
So Karen Hall, you are dressed to impress.
Okay, wonderful.
It looks very
That's-
good, very
thank you, ma'am.
patriotic.
Thank you.
We have Karen Lee Hall. She is running for a City of Stewart Commissioner Group 4. So Karen, pleased that you could come in this evening. You are actually our last candidate before the primary, which is next Tuesday. Everybody get out and vote, August 18. And Karen, really wanted to get to know you and find out why you're running for City of Stewart Commission, and if elected, what your platform will be. So I'm going to start out. Who is Karen Hall?
Karen Hall is a mother. I came here almost 30 years ago on a sport fishing yacht from New York. I traveled but I always came back to Martin County and married and had my children here. I was a homeschool mother for 23 years. So that really is my background. I'm education. I'm running because I've been so involved with the political process. I have good relationships with the county commissioners, the city commissioners. I go to meetings. I always speak my mind, and I believe that every voice matters. And I'm running hopefully to inspire others to also be involved regardless of your income. Don't wait till you have money to get involved. Your voice matters, whether you're poor, homeless, veteran, even children. I have a heart for the children. These are our children in our city, and I'd like to inspire them to feel safe here. I know I can make a difference. There's a great disparity between my opponent and me, and I'm being the change that I want to see. And I'm confident that you actually gave money to my opponent and you can't vote for him, but I think I'm going to get your theoretical vote after this interview.
I like that, Karen.
Absolutely. We have good people in this county.
We do, and we're gonna talk about you. So the differences between your opponent. You're running for the seat vacated by Kelly Glass Layton, and the opponent is Troy McDonald, who was previously a city commissioner, and both of you are running for the seat. So tell us why you would vote for Karen Hall. Why should we vote for you over Troy McDonald? What is those differences you were just talking about?
Well, I voted for Troy because he was building a bridge to the residents, but the years that he was on the board, it seems like he built a bridge to developers. And even in this tiny little election, there's 16,000 people here. He's taken thousands of dollars. It's COVID. Why would you need money to even run? Why would you take money from land planners and real estate people in a small little election? And I know why he does that, because that's whom he votes for and that's who he listens to. And there's public records of him actually talking on the dais during a meeting. about the agenda with realtors. I don't like that. People don't like that. And I like Troy. I voted for him. But I think the people are ready for a change where I'm concerned about not they call it affordable housing. It's actually workforce housing. I care about the voices that aren't heard, and I'm beholden to no one, and I didn't take money from anyone. I've been doing this for 10 years, an activist, without getting a penny. So whether I'm in the seat or not, I will continue to advocate for all the unheard voices. And that's the difference between Troy and myself. He's an insider. He's going to do the thing that they want him to do. Nobody's going to tell me. I'm going to listen to my constituents. Nobody can buy me.
Karen, when you talk about the unheard voices, what groups are you speaking of?
Well, I feel, it's the unheard voices that need to start speaking up. It's, I hear it at city commission meetings sometimes from people in East Stewart, as if their voice doesn't matter because of money. This is completely wrong. And that's what we need to change. I think I can change that. I want to inspire people to get back in the game. You don't have to drive a certain vehicle. You don't have to have a certain lifestyle. You need to care about your city. You need to be ready to go out there and stand up and do the right things. And don't be afraid because you're low income. That doesn't matter. Your voice matters.
Your voice absolutely does matter. I agree with that. If you're elected as commissioner, what do you want to see as your 3 main issues or platform that you would do as a commissioner for the city of Stewart? There's a lot of issues in the city. It might be water, it might be growth, controlled growth, or expanding. What would be your top issues as a commissioner for the future vision of the city of Stewart?
Okay. Well, the top issue, of course, I believe is safety, but that also includes water, COVID, so that the safety, that includes police. So safety is going to be the number one thing. As one commissioner and one voice, I'm going to represent people, but I also have to work with others, which I have good relationships with everybody on the dais. It's a consensus of what the people want. And that's one of the reasons I'm running, is because I really do want to hear from the people. And I want our people educated. And that's the biggest thing. It's education. If we can educate our residents, then they'll be able to speak, and maybe they'll feel that they have power. I want to empower the powerless by educating them in everything with the water. And we're doing good. I think the city's doing well. I don't want to come in there and change anything. I want to add to it. I want to bring to it. The development, we obviously need to get a throttle on that. We already have some growth management rules that are allowing things that we might be able to rescind that. But that's very important, and it's got to grow all around. It can't be downtown. It has to go over into East Stewart. It has to go into the city. Our boundaries are very interesting, but the money does have to go all around, because if we have people not cared for over here, that doesn't help us if we have a lot of money in downtown. We have to care for every individual.
We certainly do. Let me just try to get an idea of how you would vote for in different city topics. And I'm going to bring some that have already come up. Let's talk about the Cube Smart building, because that's something everybody's talking about right now as we drive around, US 1, and all of a sudden you drive around the corner and there's this big old gray building. I'm sure it'll be painted and it won't remain gray, but it's it's something that everybody's talking about right now.
When it first came up, I had an interview with the Martin County Builders Association, and they asked me what I thought about it. And I'm going to tell you the same thing: ghastly. Ghastly. But it's here. So here, we cannot think what has already been here. We have what we have. And that's why people like me like to run, because we want to maintain this 4-story limit. We want to maintain our single family neighborhoods. We don't want to give in to developers for money to develop without it meeting the standards of the neighborhood and without public input. I just want public input. That's really what I'm looking for, people to give public input.
I can tell you're very passionate about reaching out to people that aren't
That's-
involved. And as a community organizer, and I've done this quite a bit, it's tough to reach people. So how do you reach them, Karen? How do you reach out to those people that you say are the unheard voices? Because they're unheard because they're not involved.
Yes. Well, I talk to a lot of homeless people. I reach people because I speak to them and I talk to them and I get ideas from them. It's the education, and it's well, just like this election. In 7 days, there's an election. The Republican committee hasn't reached out for anything. The Democrats haven't reached out. NAACP hasn't reached out. The Black Lives Matter Stewart. There's so many involved people in Stewart, but nobody asked Troy and me to come. And I think it's very important what Troy has to say and what I have to say, because you're going to vote. And this is a very important seat to fill. It's very important. It's going to go one way or the other. And Troy and I need to get our messages out there. And so to answer your question, I don't know. I reached out to people.
Right.
I reached out to you.
Right.
We have to do that.
You did. You
and
have
you're
to reach
doing
out.
your job. And that Christina, who just called in, she's amazing. Martin County and City of Stewart, we have amazing people.
We do have amazing people,
Amazing.
and right now we do have to really pull together, as we were talking before we came on air, as a group. And it's so important here as a commissioner, and we'll talk about this for a second. COVID is obviously the biggest issue we're facing right now. The bridge, thank goodness, is getting fixed. What are you saying to our local businesses that are struggling because they've had to cut back, or some of them, in fact, have been closed because of COVID?
Well, I like that Dan Hudson was just here. He was at the meeting last night and he spoke about that CARES. And I did just ask him that will apply to our people in the city of Stewart. They can reach out for that. We have to just, we have to be safe. We have to slowly open up. I think that we are wise people. I think we are well-read people. I think that we do the right things. I left my daughter go to Jensen Beach High School with a mask on because I trust the teachers are wearing a mask. I think we're doing okay here. People seem to be doing all right in Martin County. So I trust our residents. I really do. I trust our residents to make the right decisions.
So here's another issue that would certainly come to the table, I believe, if you're elected commissioner, and that is the city's Stewart Hall, where the current location is. And if they move, what happens to the old city hall if they do move?
I've been wanting that to move for so long. Okay, first of all, yes, move it out of there and use that for revenue. But I want to ask the people what they want to do with it. I'm always back to and I like that everybody has all these dreams they want to do, but I really do want to find out. I believe we need revenue from that. We definitely move City Hall away from there. And I'm going to be sorry because it's a beautiful walk-in and it's just a gorgeous place to work. But we're employees, really. We serve, and we serve at the pleasure of the people. So why should we have the nicest place? I've always wanted to move that, even down to just a cubicle. If that's where I have to go for the good of the people, that we could use that. So let's see what the people want to do with it. Let's always go back to the people and the code. Let's not change the code right now. Let's just go back to the people and move from there, always.
How do you feel about the city owning as much property as it does? For example, they own the property at Pelican Cafe sits on Mulligan's. There's a car wash out at the corner of Monterey and Canner now. They own that property. How do you feel about the city owning that property as opposed to if it was privately owned? You would have a private owner that has businesses on there paying taxes on that property. Right now they're paying lease money, but the city owns it, not the private.
Yeah, well, as long
investor.
as the city doesn't break their lease and do something like they did across the street to Clark Collins. He had a beautiful golf range over there, and he had rented from the city. And no, I don't like the idea of the city annexing up anymore. And I always will side with the private property owners.
Okay. So you're,
I always side with yes.
and that's important. It's important. You're against any more annexing in the city.
Yes. Has anybody looked at our borders of our city? We're good.
Right.
We're good. And we're inside Martin County, so we're good.
So if some of these leases were to come up again, not to push it, but some of the leases have come up and they've been re-signed, so it's nothing that's on the table right
Right.
now. But if those leases come up again, would you push to re-lease that property out or for the city to sell it to a private?
Okay. Well, the way we did the Pelican, that was a little goofy. So I think we learned from that. And I think that we're going to do better as a commission when the next lease comes up. I think that was a learning curve for us. The dailies, the whole thing that went down. Yeah.
Certainly is.
Yes.
Okay. So besides reaching out to people and making sure that the voices that aren't typically heard, what other differences do you see between you and Troy's platform that you would bring to the table?
Well, I would bring, I could never agree to, I guess, leadership. I could bring leadership to the table. My opponent, and I like Troy and I like Portia, but he does have a record of the 55% pay raise, which I could not do. And because I disagree with it, I'll give the difference up to building bridges for youth in East Stewart. So I'm not just saying I was really mad about that. I'm saying I'm mad enough that, yes, I'll give that up. I think it's $7,000 different. You don't raise your salary without the people saying so. And then the fire assessment tax in 2014. Now, Troy agreed to sue, and not just Troy, Kelly Glass-Lane, the commission agreed to sue us, the residents. We were defendants. As a commissioner, I would have been a leader and said, you want to do what?
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, well, that's because you're in Palm City and it's
Right.
not on your tax bill every
Right.
month.
Right. No, it's not.
But it's just one of those things. People come and they're nice and you just think, oh, they did a good job. But there are effects from votes that people make that last for years.
That's right. That's right.
For years. And so, yeah, I've seen it happen in seat 4. I can make the difference. I can make a change. I would not, I want to listen to the people. I don't move without the people's okay.
Again, we're speaking with Karen Lee Hall. She's running for City Stewart Commission race in Group 4. Early voting is going on right now, and you can vote at the election center that's on Martin Luther King Boulevard here in Stewart, or you can wait till August 18th and vote at your local precinct. But if you support Karen Hall, she needs your vote. And Karen, how can they reach out to you if they have questions for you or want to support your campaign?
I have the Facebook Hall for City Hall, and then I also have a website with a little mail thing if they like to. And I have an email as well. That's hallforcityhall@gmail.com. And I just want to say the shoes are amazing. Nobody can see them.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Karen.
If
If I could kick my leg that high, I would. I can't.
They're so pretty. They're really
Thank
good.
you. Mayor Meyer just tuned in. He said,
I love
he says, good discussion, K.C and Karen. Just to clarify, when city-owned property is leased, it becomes a commercial arrangement and is then taxed. Thank you for clarifying that, Commissioner. Unless leased by a nonprofit, commission misconception that city-owned property is always off the tax roll. It is back on if it is leased. So that's really good news. So we're getting some tax dollars on leased properties
And
as
that
well.
was our mayor, right, Mike Meyer?
Yes, that is the mayor.
He's really involved. We're really fortunate to have him. He's been through so much.
He is. I've just had him
Oh.
on the show recently, and Mayor
He's
Meyer
been
gave
through
us some
so
great
much.
updates. And actually, we spoke for an hour and could have spoken for
I could-
3.
Yes, we're so fortunate. Yeah, we have a good commission. We just have a little empty seat.
We do. And again, that's, August 18 is coming right up, and this is Group 4 City Commission. We also have another race in the city. So there's actually 2 commission seats that are being contested.
Yes,
So
yes.
one of the few races in the county that are contested this year. There's just a few. So we've got the House 82. We have the property appraiser,
Yes,
1 county
yes.
commission race, and then the 2 in the city. So
Yes, it's good. The more the merrier.
It
we
is.
need people to get out and not and not be afraid to go out there and put yourself out there, because we can all make a change.
And Karen, I think that's really what you're saying the most is, if you just speak out and you have a voice, use it. And you never know where it'll lead you and what paths may cross. And who knows, maybe you become the next commissioner here in Group 4 just because you
Maybe.
come out with your voice.
Can I lead? Ernest Lyons, this is a quote from Ernest Lyons, and I love it. He wanted this to be the motto years ago. Stuart, where peace, quiet, and natural beauty are more important than money.
It's very nice, Ernest Lyons.
He's
We all
amazing. If you don't know who he is, better go Google him.
Well, and Ernest Lyons and the St. Lucie River and the discharges, there's a long
good.
history there. So in the city of Stuart has really come a long way with the water issues,
Absolutely.
and also the septic to sewer.
That was Troy. Yeah, Troy was involved in that. Yes.
Yeah, that's been over the last
absolutely.
few years. So that's really been a tremendous asset for the city. We all have to do our part in cleaning up the river. So
All of us.
I think that's probably one of the biggest issues that faces this area, the city, the county, and the Treasure
Absolutely.
Coast.
Whatever happens to the water happens to the people. So, and we
right.
have so much education for our people here. Jackie Thurlow, Lippish, even our own Merritt Matheson. We have the LOSUM. They came last night at the meeting. That's what I'm saying. We need to educate people, and we can stay on top of it, keep the pressure on, and keep moving along. This has been a long haul with the water.
Do you feel? Oh, it certainly has been a long haul and a long way to go.
Yes, ma'am. But we all keep going together.
We do, and I keep thinking about your platform and reaching out to people that are unheard. Do you have any maybe ideas of how to reach them as far as starting up a new platform, starting a new committee? I know they just started an advisory committee between East Stewart and the police and all that. Do you have something in mind of that sort where you're bringing in people that aren't typically involved?
Well, I actually am looking bigger than that, but you're right. That's a very big connection right there.
Right.
And yeah, and when I think about our children, I do think about East Stewart and the children there. And yeah, we need to have more of a unity. But yes, absolutely. But we're doing that already. The police are really getting with the community. That's what builds safety, and that's why we won't have and I would like even the training to do de-escalation for some of our men and women in blue, because they have such a hard job, and of course we don't pay them enough because we can't pay them enough to do what they do. But yes, I would love to see more of the community, more trust in our law enforcement. Tuminelli, great guy. Bill Snyder, we're doing good here. We're very fortunate, but you never get lax.
No, you certainly can't.
You stay on top of it.
You absolutely. Again, we're speaking with Karen Hall. We just got to wrap up. City of Stuart Commission Group 4. Vote August 18 in the primary. If you want to reach out to Karen, she's on Facebook, and you can certainly reach her through there. Karen Hall, appreciate you coming in. It's good getting to know you, and wish you all the luck.
It's so nice to meet you face to face.
Thank you.
Yes, you have a lovely show. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Please.
I will.